Well, Ethan, back one last time, maybe the last time, for another album review, and I'm going to be reviewing a great album and a favorite of mine from sort of a offshoot band from one of my favorite bands. They are an offshoot of the band Deep Purple. The guitarist of Deep Purple, the original guitarist, he left the band in 1975. They recorded another album without him and another guitarist, but he went on to form a band of his own. In 1975, he recruited a singer from the band Elf, a singer who was an unknown at the time, who would later have great success with Black Sabbath as their second singer, and then his own self-titled band named after him. I'm talking about Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow and Rainbow Rising. And obviously I was referring to Ronnie James Dio as well. Ritchie Blackmore formed this band in 1975, as I mentioned, after he quit Deep Purple. He was not pleased with the funkier and bluesier route that they were taking when they brought on David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes. So he got mad and left, right? And then he recruited a guy named Dio, Ronnie James Dio, in a band called Elf, which was sort of a blues rock band, sort of unknown. And Dio was an American. Ritchie, coming from an English band, was an Englishman himself, so recruited him. The members of Elf, along with Dio and Ritchie, released Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, which was the album before this one, the first album by the band. Really good. I don't have it, but I'd like to get it someday. Great debut from the band. But after they released that one, Ritchie Blackmore fires all the members of Elf and gets new guys, entirely new guys, sort of a super group of who he considered were the best musicians for this album, Rainbow Rising. And look at that fantastic cover art. You got this like real powerful looking fist grabbing a rainbow over the mountains and the clouds, almost like a Lord of the Rings style, Game of Thrones, medieval kind of vibe. And I really think it's cool. Look at this, the castle over here, the kind of the storm clouds, and I just love this cover art. There's some live shots of the band. I love when they have the live shots. And let's get into the band members. You got, obviously, Ritchie Blackmore on guitar. There he is right there. You got Ronnie James Dio right here on vocals. Cozy Powell on drums. Jimmy Bain on bass guitar, and Tony Carey, this guy that looks like Ashton Kutcher over here, on keyboards. Released in 1976, May the 15th, 1976 to be exact. Recorded in February. Recorded in Munich, Germany at the Musicland Studios on the Oyster and Polydor labels, probably one UK, one US. Produced by Martin Birch, famous producer from the time. This was kind of his early days, though. Like I mentioned, this is their sophomore effort. The track listing is as follows. Side 1, Tarot Woman. Tarot Woman, sort of like a fortune teller, tarot card reading. If you've ever heard of that, I don't do it, but I've heard of it. Tarot Woman's about like kind of a fortune teller. Just a song that starts out with sort of a kind of a moody, atmospheric keyboard intro. Tony Carey, the keyboardist, was really doing his kind of best John Lord from Deep Purple impression, right? Really good, moody intros to a lot of these songs, a lot of good keyboard solos in some of these songs. And I just really have always loved the intro to the song Tarot Woman. It really kicks off the album and sets the mood for the album. Love it. Really good intro. Tarot Woman, great song, and then it really kind of kicks in with a galloping riff from Mr. Ritchie Blackmore. Just just a great riff. I mean, and the bass guitar is going right along with it. Great stomping rock song. Kind of reminds me of some Deep Purple. Kind of reminds me of Hard Lovin' Man off of In Rock. And even some Iron Maiden influences I can hear in that song. But just a great song. A fantastic high-powered, high-register vocal performance from Ronnie James Dio. And the next song is called Run with the Wolf. Another great song, another great riff. Has kind of a nice chorus, verse, with a nice heavy riff from Ritchie Blackmore. Great soloing as well. Starstruck, another great song. Only 7 songs on this album, so it's short and it's tight. The next song is called Do You Close Your Eyes? Probably my least favorite song on the album, but still really good. Do You Close Your Eyes? Sort of a more up-tempo kind of rocker. Kind of lacks some originality and some of the power of the other songs. And then side 2, you kick it off with just 2 songs, but one of the songs is over 8 minutes, and that is the song Stargazer. Such an epic song, such a tour de force vocal performance from that guy right there, Ronnie James Dio in his younger years. Such a fantastic guitar solo from Ritchie Blackmore. He had what, I don't know how to describe it, but I kind of call it like a lazy guitar solo. It's kind of like this like heavy, plodding, kind of flowy. He had a lot of those in Deep Purple. It's like a dreamy, flowy solo. Kind of has one in this song and in this album. He could play really fast rhythm, and he could also do the real kind of flowy, dreamy, weaving guitar solos, and that song has one. Epic song, just a classic from the band. Really, Ronnie James Dio and Ritchie Blackmore at their best, in their peak. Obviously, Dio, idolized in the rock and metal community for his voice and his legacy, but his voice here was probably better than it ever was, and that includes Heaven and Hell and his solo albums, Holy Diver, great album, but this right here might be his crowning achievement, Stargazer, the song. And it kicks off with a great drum intro from Cozy Powell. He's just pounding away on the drums. Great. Love a good drum solo, and to kick off a song like that, just a really great song. The last song is another long song. It's called A Light in the Black. Very interesting song. Good keyboards again. Great drumming all throughout this album. Cozy Powell. Great bass guitar right along, galloping with Ritchie's guitar. A Light in the Black, great song. And that's it. 7 songs. Short album. Well, it's only 7 songs, but all the songs are kind of long. Only 33 minutes. There's absolutely no filler on this album. Again, if I had to pick a throwaway track, it'd probably be Do You Close Your Eyes, the last one on side 1. But again, still a pretty good song, but probably the least favorite for me. And I've heard other people comment to that's not their favorite. But yeah, Martin Birch recorded in Germany. Stargazer was released as a single. Or no, I'm sorry. I don't think there were any singles. I think Starstruck was a single, not Stargazer. Stargazer's far too long and complex for a single. But just a great album. There's no slow moments on this album. You know how some, heavy rock and metal albums will have a kind of a ballad, and you're like, yeah, it's good. I like it. I love a lot of ballads. I mean, I do. But, Judas Priest, Beyond the Realms of Death, Iron Maiden, Strange World, Black Sabbath, some of their ballads, Metallica, Fade to Black, Nothing Else Matters. Love those. But this album has no ballads. It's just heavy and fast all the way through. Again, is this Heavy metal? No, not really. It's more hard rock. This was kind of before metal became to be known what it is today. Um, and I've even heard people say, and I'm even reading on Wikipedia now, this is considered a power metal, an influential album to the power metal genre, which is sort of the swords and fantasy kind of high chorus vocals and kind of came over from England in the 80s. This is considered influential in and of itself to that genre. So that's something interesting. And Ritchie Blackmore was a guitarist along with Uli John Roth from the Scorpions, German band Scorpions. They were two guys who were influential in the neoclassical way of playing guitar, which is a classical music influenced way of playing the guitar. And classical music, I mean like 14th century, like Mozart, Beethoven, all that stuff. Those two guys incorporated some of those elements into their playing, and they're considered sort of the pioneers of the neoclassical style of guitar playing, which would later get more notoriety with guys like what's his name? Yngwie Malmsteen, the Swedish guitarist. I believe he's Swedish. I think so. In the 80s, he was influenced by Ritchie Blackmore and Ulrich John Roth, indirectly, of course. But yeah, so after this album, they released one more with Dio. He leaves after that album, Long Live Rock and Roll, great album. After this one, he goes on to join Black Sabbath in 1980 to release the Heaven and Hell album, which is great. Then he leaves Black Sabbath, starts the band Dio, Holy Diver. That classic album and band, great success with them. But Ian Gillan would also, from Deep Purple, would be on Black Sabbath's 1983 album Born Again, which is really good. So it's kind of weird and interesting how Sabbath, Rainbow, Dio, and Purple all kind of had intertwined members around this time, 70s, 80s. So they were all kind of guys leaving, other guys coming in, and they were all kind of a competitive bunch, I would say. But they all wanted, a lot of these big rock guys wanted to play in some of these big bands, and people like David Coverdale. Deep Purple was what got him on the map, and Ritchie Blackmore is really responsible for discovering Dio, bringing Dio to people's recognition with Rainbow, and then so he's responsible indirectly for Dio's success as a vocalist. Anyway, I'm rambling and getting off topic, but great album. Rainbow Rising, 96 out of 100. Darn near perfect album. Again, no slow spots, just rocks from beginning to end, no filler whatsoever. Do You Close Your Eyes could be considered filler. I'd knock off 4 points for that song maybe. Otherwise, it might be in 100, but 96 out of 100 for Rainbow Rising. This vinyl is in very good condition for a used, so I'm glad to have it. Very good condition. A lot of times they're very stained and old and just weather worn, but this one's not. This one looks almost brand new. But that's it for this album review. Thank you for watching.